Now for tray 2. And this is BARacer Ferrari 250 GTO car 31 in event 1. Well, I've got a car in event 1 as well, so probably one of the most famous car shapes ever made. 250 GTO. Is this going to be a fly racer? It might be a fly, but anyway, let's get the camera focused. Come on, focus. There we go. So can I have a better look? I like the wheel. Yeah, spokes do old sports cars a world of good. Vac formed interior, which is very nicely made, I must admit. Let's have a look at the chassis. Right, so this is a 3D chassis. I'm not quite sure by who. It'll either be, I'm not going to guess. It'll either be amateur or JS. Oh, right, we need to sort out that braid, don't we? That'll be job number 1. That'll be job number 1. Well, tomorrow we'll go through every car before racing them at the track. The 3 of us will look at them, make sure that there's no issues like that. We'll tart it up, clean it up, make sure the braids are flat. Right. There's quite a lot of movement there, which I'm not a fan of, to be honest. Inline, not sure what the motor is. It'll be on the spec sheet. Body mounts are, where's the body mounts on this then? I'm looking, but I can't see. Well, there's the body mount at the rear, so where's the body mount at the front then? Ah, it's got the originals. It's the original body mounts, isn't it? So they're there and there. Right. But independently rotating fronts, that's actually a bit tight. It's not rubbing at all. Yeah, you can. Actually, that's why. That's why, right. It's not independently rotating fronts at all. It's a grub screw that's fallen out. Right, I've got a bag of grub screws. It's definitely not in there. It looks like you were lucky that I caught that then. As a matter of fact, I'll go and get my tools now and do it here. So we'll just pause it. I'll have a mouthful of tea and be back in a sec. Right, I'm back. Right. Two B3 grub screws. Right then. Which one was it? This one. Come on. There we go. Okay. Just a thing that I do on a solid axle. I don't like to have the grub screws on the same side, so I've just put the grub screw in there. But on this, I rotated the wheel round, so the grub screw's on the bottom. Do a little bit more clearance on that, just a couple of thou. That's the fella. So that was an M2, a 2mm grub screw, and for 2mm, which are on slotted cars, I use one of these. It's you can't see the writing on it now, but it is a Wera 0.9mm. For NSRs, same thing, but 1.3mm. And to avoid the confusion, I've got a red bead on the 1.3 and a blue bead on the 0.9, so I can quickly get them out of find them in the box, and I know which is which. Right, well, I've got my tool. I've got a pair of flat nose pliers as well, so I'll just quickly fix the braid on that other car. I can remember which one it was. It was this one. Okay. Right, okay. It is this one, right, okay. So I'm just going to flatten the copper down. Let's tease it back into some kind of normal shape. Looks a bit better, doesn't it? An old toothbrush and lighter fluid is brilliant for cleaning braid. And they'll all get a clean tomorrow. Right, so where were we? After looking how wonderful this looked. Right, and a guide. Yeah, we did that. Right, pod. How much pod movement is there in this? None. There's a little bit of side float. I would have run those loose so that there's a bit of movement, so that the body and the chassis can move independently of the pod. Slotted crown. Tyres, right. Event 1 was handicapped by having to use narrow tyres. So what do they look like? And seeing as they're narrow, and you'd expect them to wear like crazy, I'm just looking at that tyre there. That looks like it's urethane. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. They don't give the same amount of grip as as properly treated rubber, but they're dead easy to look after. Dead, and if you really want to, you can make your own. Very nice. Very, very nice. Some amazing detail on there, isn't there? See right through there. Right, next car. Next car is another 250 GTO. Team Cube's Ferrari 250 GTO, car 106 in event 1. I'm not quite sure. I don't think this is a fly. This one looks different. Traditional colours. This might be a Airfix, maybe a monogram. Nice simple interior. Right, this will have one of his chassis, Oxo Cube, who did quite well in the one of the recent proxies over in Canada. It's not too bad. Right, solid front axle. Not sure what the motor this is, but it's using a space. This is obviously for a slotted pod for a long can, but he's got an adapter in there to make up the gap. Slotted crown. What are these tyres like then after eight rounds? Come on, focus. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Oh, it doesn't want to. But the tyres look pretty good shape. These are rubber, I think. Nice and grippy. Nice bit of movement in the with the pod in the chassis. What does that go like? So we've got some lead ballast down the sides. which is a good place to put it. So it looks like he's using the original body post at the back, and at the front he's got a body post glued in there. Yeah, not quite the same detail as the other one. It's actually narrower as well. Or maybe that's just the colour making it look narrower. Oh, the back end's slightly different shape. Yeah, I'm not sure what paint that is. Right, next car. Makem Movers Costin Jag, car 18 in event 1. So this will be, it's actually a resin cast. Okay. Right. I like the inserts, steelies. Very unusual looking car. Again, this is another Spirit of the Proxy nominee. Same chassis as the Dolly. Nothing binding. Again, the chassis is quite fixed rigidly to this part. Body mounted is you can see that back end a bit better on this. Extended the rear body post with a piece of plastic. Slotted crown. Solid front axle, nice and free. Looks like a slotting plus guide, which is super. They're my favourite guide actually. That's all we use now on the big truck. We don't get the deep one. We just get this. I think it's the sport one. It's slightly shallower. What are the tyres like after eight rounds? Again, narrow rubber. They've survived quite well. Not too heavy. Yeah, there's quite a bit of rock in this design of chassis. Be interesting to see how that goes like tomorrow. We're going to go down for about 9 o'clock, 9:30. It shouldn't take as long as the last Proxy because there's not as many cars. Right, the car that's missing next is the Brumos Camaro, which was retired two rounds ago, which is a shame. I'd have liked to have had a look at it on the bench here. Right, now the next two cars are club members' cars. And this is Andy's Broadspeed Jag. LeManx Jaguar XJ12 Coupe car 5 in Event 2. Is anybody going to beat this car? Because it's won every round. So this is a resin cast. It's not quite as Area 71 do a 3D printed version of this, which Andy also has in. He's had it specially painted, as he's a bit of a golf fanatic. It's actually slightly wider than this. Come on, camera, focus. Right. Your windows are. That's the only thing with resin bodies, and that these fact formed in windows don't stick in very well. Right, let's have a look at what's going on here. The fuel filler caps. Right, this is the chassis, which is developed over many years, and nearly all of his cars have this design. He's even got a Mini with the same chassis, which is really narrow. They're only 54mm wide. So to get a sidewinder and the sidewinder gear in there, he has to do a bit of jiggery pokery with a Dremel to get some clearance between the wheel and the end bell. So Andy always runs independently rotating fronts, simply done with a, which wheel? It's on this wheel here. That one's got a grub screw in. So he has a grub screw in that one, and on this end of the axle he solders a short brass spacer, and that's what the wheel runs against. I do the same on quite a few cars. No slop at all there. Slotting plus guide. Now these chassis have they do have a drop guide, but it's restricted. It is restricted with a brace across the inside, and then the tapes for damping. And then how he mounts the bodies onto these chassis is with fibre tape. And after the last Proxy, I think it was, where the body moved, I suggested fixing a piece of plastic on top of the chassis on either side for the body shell to locate against, and then to secure it. So that's what he's done. So it's so the body can't move sideways. He doesn't. The only weight he puts in is under the rear axle. He doesn't put any weight anywhere else. It's not particularly thick brass, as you can see. It's only 0.5 mil, 0.6 of a mil thick. The drop arm's a little bit thicker, maybe 1 mil. They always have loads of flex. Hold the front, the body can move. Hold the back, body can move not quite as much. But everything is just super loose. Do it this way so you can see the body moving. Right, Shark 21.5, and tires. These will be NSR Ultra Grips, the Alan Man Racing. It looks like something's rubbing. I'm going to guess that'll be the interior. You can just see down there. Yeah, you can just see it's the interior. Interior's catching. Yeah, I'm looking forward to driving it. I have driven it in testing. He's let me have a few goes of it. As you can see, it's everything just floats around and everything. And it just, as you've seen when you've driven it, it just goes great. Yeah. Is it going to do the clean sweep of event 2? Well, the next car, it looks like the only one that can stop it. Well, that's Ed's Camaro. BatManx, Camaro Z28, car number 7, event 2. So, Ed prefers standard class cars because he can be competitive with that with his limited mobility. And I'd never seen one of these until he got this. I was quite impressed with it. I was quite taken with it. So it's got the original interior as well. This is one of those you can buy and race this car too, because it's all standard. Apart from the motor, it's got a Predator in there with a brass gear. Slotting plus guide, which is mounted at a funny angle, I have to say. That doesn't look good. I don't know whether you can see that. That plastic's the plastic that's holding that guide. That's going to need a look at tomorrow. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not touching it anymore. Original front wheels and tyres, solid front axle. I'm not quite sure what tyres he's got on here. All right, they're Alaman NSR Ultras, which look in good condition actually. Oh, apart from that, we'll ignore that hole. The track won't see that hole. Original spur gear. Right, movement. Nice lot of float. Oh, he's missing a wheel insert, so that's probably in the bag. So it is in essence a standard car with some usual upgrades being guide, wheels, motor. But the original motor in it is a 21k, so the Predator's only going to be slightly quicker. What's the chassis like? That's quite tight. I would have slackened that screw off there for the chip. I won't. Yeah, I'll sort that out. I don't like that. That plastic is on the verge of breaking. I'll have to sort that out. And that concludes tray number 2.